What's the next step?
Next step is you've got to create an income for life. And then when I say income for life, it's so interesting because I ask people all the time, why do you invest? What are you investing for? What would your response be?
So I'll have money when I'm old.
Right?
Yeah.
So some people say, so I'll have money when old. Some people say, so I can grow my assets. Some people say, so they tell me, I can say, there's only one reason to invest: income. Mm-hmm. You can have all these companies, but eventually you have to convert that to income to be able to live a great life. Mm-hmm. The final purpose of all investing is income. And most of us don't know that anymore because all of the marketing machines, I mean, large banks, if you are taking income, it's no longer in their account.
So it's bad.
So it takes it away from them. So one of the things that I looked at was, I started looking around, and most people know the power of life insurance, right? Don't like it, but I want to make sure if something happens to me, my family's taken care of. But what if you live? And here's what's crazy. The number one fear amongst baby boomers is not death. Death is a far number two, way down the list, number two percentage-wise. Number one is running out of money before they die. Having a life where they don't have income. And it's going to happen, according to all the statistics, to about 75% of the population, right? It's mind-boggling. So what do I do without any income? That's why you see people now in their 70s as greeters at Walmart. You know, it's just they got to figure out what to do because they never figured this stuff out in the beginning. So there is income insurance. Income insurance is the word annuity that we all have heard. The word annuity is annual payments. Now you get annuities that pay you every month, but that process that's out there is one of the most successful opportunities for people to create an income. In other words, there's a stage in my life where you build, like you are. Mm-hmm. You're grow, and you're going up the mountain. You're saving, you're investing, and you're building it to a giant critical mass, to a jackpot. Mm-hmm. When you get to the top of the mountain, there's going to be a stage where you're not going to want to work. You probably will. Guys like you and I will always work. You don't have to work, and therefore you tend to work harder.
I couldn't imagine not doing it.
It's just like I couldn't either. Yeah. Steve Wynn's a dear friend of mine. He's 72 years old. He works harder now than any time I've known him. Just crazy. T. Boone Pickens is a friend of mine. He's 86. When he was 68, he retired. He's a billionaire. He's made more money after coming out of retirement in the last 15 years than he did in the first 68 years, and he's having the time of his life, right? Mm-hmm. But you want to know you don't have to work. So when you get to that peak where you have enough money, now you want to be able to ski down the mountain, enjoy your time with your family, do whatever you want to do, give your time, your energy, your capital, do whatever you want to do. That phase you need income for. And most people aren't planning for income. So you could be in a position where you built your assets up, your stock investments, your bonds, your real estate, and how fast can that drop by 50%, by 30%? We've seen it in every market.
About a nanosecond or
Ray Dalio,
a day? Yeah.
Ray Dalio says point blank, he said, whatever you invest in, most people invest in something they feel is their favorite. They think they know something about it. Mm-hmm. So he said, you're a real estate guy, you put all your money in real estate. And then you put all your money in stocks, or you put it into commodities, or whatever. He said, whatever investment you invest in, he said, mark my words, in your lifetime, there will be a day that category will go down 50 to 70%. He said, so the only way you protect against that is asset allocation, spreading out against many different baskets, not one. And the other way is you create an insurance policy that says, I'm guaranteed a certain income for life. So what you do is you take a percentage of your earning and you put it in an environment where it grows. And the only problem with that is, I heard annuities, and I was like, annuity maybe is the most negative word. It's like, but here's what an annuity is. Bernanke, as the head of the Fed, his top two investments were both annuities. Because I used to read these ads that say, they still market them. It says, what does it say? It says, I hate annuities and you should too. Yeah. And of course you go to it and it's a guy that's selling you stocks, right? And he says, annuities, they have all these fees, and he's right. There's tons of horrible annuities, just like there's tons of negative mutual funds. There's tons of people who got fees everywhere. They take it every year. And the annuity side, there's a commission paid to a guy. He gets paid once. So I want to be really clear. Annuities aren't a great product. Like mutual funds aren't a great product. The right annuity, the right investment is the right one. And that means you've got to be able to strip out all the crazy fees. You got to know what you're getting. For most people, that's complex. I'll give you a perfect example. A variable annuity, very popular annuity, is filled with fees. It's fees on top of fees. It's fees to be inside of the annuity, and then there's fees for a mutual fund on top of it. It's a disaster. But there are types of annuities, like, done properly, like these hybrid annuities, they call them, where it's tied to an index, meaning a stock market index. So here's how it works. You get the upside without the downside. If the stock market goes up, you get a percentage of that growth. If it goes down, you lose nothing. So like you think about my friend who's been out of the stock market for 6 years and he's got nothing to show for it. I said to him, this would have been one of many different vehicles you could have easily done. When I started seeing how these work, there's one annuity I saw, and I'm getting old enough that I'm within the range of doing these things now, which scares me. But one of them gives a guaranteed return of 7% a year. And where are you going to find that? And
My immediate reaction is
my immediate reaction, that's
fearful.
impossible.
It's like,
I know. It's a company that's, A-rated. It's been around forever. But here's how they do it. You pay into the company, in this particular one, your rate grows at 7% a year, and then you have this lump sum. You don't take out the lump sum. That's how you get the 7% per year. What you do is you take out 5% of it a year. And so they show you what that means to you in income. Because what you really want is income. If you're in the stock market and it drops 50%, your income is just cut in half, and then to grow it back can take decades. So there's some that are tied to the stock market, and if it loses money, you lose nothing, and there are no fees if it doesn't make money.
That's a much more attractive proposition.
It's mind-boggling. And then they have a second piece which says, if you leave your money with us and you don't take it out, if you leave it with us, then you can convert that to income in the future. And we can show you how much that would be worth in the future at different stages. So you're able to have something to plan with. So I'm talking about a subject that's really complex. I'm realizing I'm trying to explain this in a few minutes. And I haven't tried to do it verbally. I do it in the book and really step by step. But take it this way. If you knew today that you could put a certain amount of money aside, and instead of wondering how the stock market was going to go, you knew that meant for you $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, whatever it is, for as long as you live, and that even if all the money you put in, you'd outstripped, you'd still be receiving the money. That's what you get in these types of income insurance plans. And the way they do it is, some people live very long. Today, people Social Security was developed, 1920s, 1930s, right, under Roosevelt. 65 years old is when you're supposed to get it. Well, the average life span was 62 then.
Yeah.
So it was for the outliers that were being taken care of. And it was to make sure in your older years, 3 or 4 or 5 years of retirement, you'd have some money to be able to live your life, be with your family. Well, today, people living, 85 years. So at 65, they've got 20 years of retirement and they have no plan. And that's the average person, right? If you're married, one of the 2 people in your marriage, there's an 80% chance they'll live to 92 years old. So we're living longer and longer, and technology is just being started to really be brought to it. And yet we work for 30 or 40 years, and then we're supposed to have enough money for 30 years or 20 years. Most people don't have it. So these types of programs that I explain in here step by step, these programs can give you the income for life so you don't have to ever run out of money.
Por que você investe? A resposta é renda. Tony Robbins fala sobre o poder do seguro de vida, principalmente quando você vive muito. A renda vitalícia em um seguro de vida, as anuidades, são produtos que constroem dinheiro para a vida enquanto você não precisa trabalhar. Você pode estar na posição em que selecionou contas que têm a proteção contra desvantagens, diversificando as cestas de investimentos ao invés de estar 100% nas opções de riscos. As anuidades são ótimos produtos. As anuidades certas, não as que tenham muitas taxas. Temos aí as anuidades de índices, que são um produto certo, sem taxas e com retorno garantido junto com o seu stop loss. Converta essa renda para o futuro enquanto viver, sabendo que a maioria das pessoas que vive muito, hoje na média dos 95 anos, podendo ter renda suficiente para viver até a sua velhice. Mas a maioria das pessoas não pensam nisso, em ter uma renda para a vida toda. Definitivamente, esses programas podem dar renda para uma vida quando as pessoas estão na fase de não produzir mais, na velhice e sem dinheiro. Conte comigo para te ajudar nesse processo de planejamento financeiro futuro. Paula Borges, for Rinks Financial.